How stress quietly steals years of life. It does not arrive as a crisis. It arrives as background noise, a constant pressure so familiar it becomes invisible. And over time, it reshapes the body in ways few people notice until years are already gone. Stress is often framed as emotional, a feeling to manage. But to understand why it matters for longevity, we need to look at what stress actually does biologically. Because long before it becomes exhaustion or illness, it alters the way the body allocates energy. Short bursts of stress are protective. They sharpen attention, mobilize repair, prepare the body to respond. But modern stress rarely ends. It lingers. The nervous system stays partially activated, even during rest. This changes priorities. Resources are diverted away from maintenance. Cellular cleanup slows. Immune responses become noisy. The body operates in a state of readiness rather than repair. What makes this dangerous is subtlety. No single stressful day causes damage. It is the accumulation of unresolved activation. Stress that never fully shuts off becomes a silent accelerator of aging. Researchers have traced this process across systems. Shortened telomeres, elevated inflammation, disrupted sleep architecture. Over time, these changes compress lifespan not by causing immediate disease, but by eroding resilience. And because the process feels normal, it is rarely addressed. Stress becomes part of identity, something to endure, something to push through, but the body keeps track. And the years it loses are taken quietly, one unresolved day at a time. As scientists examined chronic stress more closely, a clear pattern emerged. It was not the intensity that mattered most. It was duration. Stress that resolves leaves little trace. Stress that lingers reshapes biology. The stress response evolved for short emergencies. Fight or flee. Act, then recover. But when activation becomes constant, systems designed for repair are repeatedly postponed. Hormones stay elevated. Inflammation never fully clears. Sleep loses depth. Over years, this creates a cascade. Muscles repair more slowly. Memory consolidation weakens. Immune defenses become erratic. Aging accelerates not through dramatic breakdown, but through cumulative neglect. What made this especially concerning was how normalized the pattern had become. Deadlines overlapped. Work extended into nights. Devices eliminated psychological distance. Even rest carried anticipation of interruption. The body interpreted this environment as perpetual threat, not because danger was real, but because safety was never clearly signaled. Without that signal, repair remained incomplete. Attempts to manage stress often targeted symptoms. Relaxation techniques, short vacations, mindfulness layered onto overloaded schedules. These help temporarily, but rarely change the underlying structure. Researchers began to conclude that stress could not be fully addressed at the individual level. It was embedded in systems, work design, social expectation, economic pressure. Stress was no longer episodic. It was architectural. And once stress becomes structural, its effects on aging become nearly unavoidable. The conflict deepens when people try to adapt. Many learn to function under constant pressure. They perform well. They stay productive. On the surface, they appear resilient. But biologically, adaptation without recovery is not resilience. It is compensation. Systems are pushed to maintain output, while repair is deferred. The cost is hidden, accumulating beneath performance. Studies revealed a striking pattern. Individuals who reported feeling used to stress often showed the highest biological strain. Their nervous systems no longer spiked dramatically. They stayed activated at a low, steady level. This flatline response was not calm. It was exhaustion. The body had learned that stress would not end, so it stopped reacting fully. Cortisol rhythms flattened. Immune responses dulled. Energy was conserved, not restored. This state proved especially damaging for aging. Without clear peaks and troughs, biological cycles lost definition. Repair never fully engaged. Systems age quietly, without warning signs. The conflict is cultural as much as biological. Modern life rewards endurance. It celebrates those who can operate without pause. But the body interprets endless demand as a signal to shut down non-essential functions. Longevity suffers not because people face challenges, but because those challenges never conclude. Without closure, stress becomes identity, and identity shapes biology. The question then becomes unavoidable. In a world that never fully powers down, how much of aging is actually being self-inflicted by design? The climax of this story is the realization that stress steals years not through catastrophe, but through permanence. When the body never receives a clear signal of safety, it reallocates resources away from longevity. Chronic stress does not announce itself as danger. It disguises itself as normal life. Emails, deadlines, notifications, expectations. Over time, the nervous system stops searching for an endpoint. It assumes activation is permanent. The resolution is not to eliminate stress. That was never possible. It is to restore endings, clear boundaries between effort and rest, signals that work is finished, that recovery is allowed, that vigilance can stand down. Longevity depends on contrast. Stress followed by release, demand followed by restoration. Without that rhythm, the body ages in survival mode, conserving energy rather than renewing itself. Modern culture often frames stress tolerance as strength, but biology tells a different story. Strength is the ability to activate and recover, to engage fully, then disengage completely. As awareness grows, the lesson becomes harder to ignore. The years stress steals are not taken during emergencies. They are taken during the ordinary days that never truly end. Because in the end, aging accelerates fastest not when life becomes hard, but when it becomes relentlessly unfinished. Subscribe to join the journey.